Hello and welcome back to Vintage Digital Watches. Today's video is going to be a review, and we are going to do something else in this video, and that is do the giveaway for the Orient watch. The Orient, let me get it. This Orient watch for which I announced the giveaway in the last video. So today we will pick the winner at the end of this video. And before I tell you what we are going to review, I'll have to do a wristwatch check because this is something that I've overlooked and everybody has noticed. So I have to do one today. And I haven't put this watch on just for the review. I have been actually wearing this for the past 5 days. And that is the Casio Telememo. And this is one of the cases that I have shown you in the pickups video. And I found a module for it. And now just look how good it looks. And yes, it's with a glow-in-the-dark keyboard. So I have been wearing that so much lately. People really notice it, especially because of the glow-in-the-light keyboard, and they ask me where they can get one because they think it's new. Okay, so what are we reviewing today? It is in fact a calculator watch from Seiko, and if you remember, at one point the last giveaway, actually the video was also a review of a calculator watch from Seiko. And today it is none other than the Seiko C515 calculator watch that I have been loving a lot lately. So before anything else, I want to give you a little bit of background on the Seiko C515. And from my research, it was produced between 1982 and 1989. You will find the odd auction saying that it's late 70s, but that is totally false. Seiko was doing other calculator watches then. This one came about later on at the beginning of the 80s. It is made in two variants. The one that I have is the C515-5000, and there is a C515-500A. So mine is the 5000 and there is a 500A. The difference is that the faceplate on the front is actually colored different. Mine is light gray, the other one is dark gray. That one is harder to find and more expensive. If you are lucky enough to meet one at a fair price, do grab it because you won't see it for a long time. Okay, so let's go on with the design. And the first thing that strikes me about this watch is the form factor. While all other Seikos and most calculator watches at that point went for a square face or wider appearance, Seiko went for, well, a portrait on this one. And you can see how tall it is. And here you can compare it to a Casio and an Orient. The portrait form factor can later be seen in the Casio Plastic DBC series, much like the one I showed you at the beginning of the video. Before wearing a C515, I never knew how a form factor like this would wear, and I can tell you that it is so natural. It also has a light curve, which gives it a very sexy profile and hugs the wrist very well. It sits lower than a Casio calculator, and side button placement is very ergonomic. The buttons are bigger than any other LCD calculator watches, even on the sides, and the keypad has a slight wedge to the buttons, which make them comfortable to type on and are practical to have the print and multiple prints in case of some of the buttons right on them, so they are not printed above the button like you've seen in other calculator watches. And you don't have to worry about the fact that they might wear off if you are an intensive user of the keyboard because they are embossed. As you'd expect, the watch is all metal. Not sure about the buttons, but in any case, this just oozes quality, and I can say hands down this is the highest quality calculator watch I have ever seen or held. Trust me, it is built like no other. The best comparison I can make is similar in construction to the Seiko TV watch. Okay, now let's go over to the bench and see some of the functions. So let's talk about what it can do for a bit. It has time, it has a calculator, it has an alarm, it has this very interesting memory function mode, it has a stopwatch, and we are back in time setting mode. So in the timekeeping part, we have the hours, minutes and seconds, and at the top right we can see that we have the current date. The calculator is what you'd expect. It's an 8-digit calculator that can actually show all 8 digits at the same time. Like you've seen with the Casio C715, it will only display 6 digits, and to see the last 2 digits you will have to press a button. Well, Seiko have achieved this by using smaller digits, actually smaller than the Casio C715, and the smallest I've seen in any calculator watch that I handled thus far. Yeah, it can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and it also has percentage. Now back to the memory function, and this it has 2 memories. If you press the top right button, you can cycle through them, and it's an 8-digit number that you can have memorized. You will reset it by this button, and now I can enter 22222, go to memory 2, reset this memory, enter 6666. And the way you can quickly access this is if you're in timekeeping mode, you press the top right button and it will show you the 2, M1 and M2. It will actually cycle through them. So this is a way for you to remember 2 numbers if you need to do that quickly. The alarm is a very straightforward alarm. It's very loud. I don't know if you can hear that through my mic. And the stopwatch is a straightforward stopwatch. The hundredths of a second, it just blinks like that. It doesn't actually show a number unless you stop it, which is very weird because on most watches you can actually barely see it cycling through different numbers. On this one, it's just you have the 8 blinking like that. And the way you set it is something that we've seen before in calculator watches. If you go into setting mode, you will cycle through the digit that you want to set, and from the calculator keypad you can enter the number, and presto, that's how you do it. It'll probably throw an error. Yes, it won't let me enter something that is not minute worthy. Let's enter, reset it, and enter 11. There we go. So let's open a watch and see what's inside. Now this front panel does come off, but I'm not going to do any butchering to this pristine condition watch. If you take these 6 screws away, you will have the front panel removed, and you can have access to the keyboard, which is on the upper side. You will see how the keyboard communicates with the module in a minute. And on the top right here, we have this little ear. I don't know if it's obvious to you. That's where we are going to hook our opening tool. Have a gasket, and this is the module. Here you can see we have the piezo ceramic speaker, and we can see that the module isn't going downwards up until the same point that the keyboard is going, because our keyboard communicates with the module through a zebra strip on the front. It does work on a 2016 cell, which will last a few years. Here we have the spring for the piezo ceramic speaker, and the whole module is held into place with these clips, 2 and 2. The micro light is on the side. There we go. So it's a bit of a cloudy day here, so the sun is on and off. You'll probably see some lighting changes in the video. You have to be really careful with these metal clips, because if you break one, you will not be able to bend it back like it would be with a metal one. The battery remains in the plastic cradle. We have here some contacts for the battery, and this is the board. Carefully lift it out. And that is the watch disassembled. We can tell that the watch is from the early 80s because most of the components are individual components. As watches evolved, many of the functions and components moved into the integrated circuit or were not needed anymore. We can see here that we have loads of capacitors. We have 2 transistors here. We have a coil here. Oh, and another transistor. We have the quartz. And here we have a trimmer condenser, which means that we can actually adjust the drift. So if over the years the quartz crystal will have a drift, it will affect the timekeeping, but we can bring it back by rotating this condenser. The case is one of the solidest cases I have ever seen in a calculator watch. I love the finishing. What more can you say? Okay, so that has been the disassembly of the watch. All right, so now it's time to give this bad boy some marks, and we'll start off with collectability. We'll give it a well-deserved 9 out of 10. Like with all calculator watches, this is a crowd pleaser, and because of its unique aspect and quality, it scores very high. Price, well, we'll give it a 6 out of 10. And one thing to mention is that condition factors a lot in the price, more so than most watches I've seen. There are some to be had at $80, $130, but if you want a very good one, expect to pay around $200 or even more. I paid 100 euros, which is around $115, but was really lucky as it was listed as non-working. But expect to pay more for the dark gray face one, which is the model 500A. Availability strikes high with a 7 out of 10, as they are fairly available and can be found relatively frequent on eBay. Most models have various wear, especially around the front edges, but if you wait a bit, you can find one in the right condition and the right price for you. And as a conclusion for the review, I can say that this watch blew my mind. When I found it on eBay and I started bidding, I really wasn't sure I was going to win it. It was more of an impulse buy, and after I won the auction I was like, okay, now I have to pay for it. But when it arrived and I saw the quality of the build, did I mention quality 500 times by now? I was ecstatic, and the way it was built, I immediately set it beside the Seiko TV watch, and the quality was on par with that one. In my opinion, this is a must-have in every calculator watch collection because of its unique particularities. You won't find this form factor and this build quality in another watch. Okay, so that is the review of the Seiko C515. I'm curious what you make of it. Is it one of the nicest calc watches you've seen? Is it ugly? Does it look like a handheld calculator? Leave it in the comments below. So before we do the giveaway, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I try to release as often as I can digital watch related videos, reviews, repairs, pickups and whatnot. Okay, so let's move on to the giveaway. Okay, so it's time to pick the giveaway winner for the video that I did last time. And the question was name at least one item that wasn't a digital watch or a watch in the video. So the answer was either the Crystron sign or the CalcuPen, and somebody pointed out that the watch cases weren't actually watches, complete watches. So I validated that answer as well. And some of you chose to specifically name that this was for the giveaway, and the answer was that. Some of you mentioned casually the items in your comments. So I also validated those answers, and we have a list of about 40 or so people that have answered correctly, and I've put them in this random picker, and we are going to pick one of the users. Okay, so the winner is Indian Toy Collector. So Indian toy collectors, send me an email at vintagedigitalwatches@gmail.com or send me a message on YouTube, and we can get in touch so I can send you the watch. You won't have to pay for anything. Shipping is also covered. So yeah, congratulations, Indian toy collectors. An Orient Digital Watch is coming your way.